In Kol Yisrael, I want to teach you guys a beautiful insight from Rav Shimshon Pinkus in his Sefer Tiferes Shimshon on our Parshas Chayey. So let's learn an insight together. It's a real mind boggler. Ezrat Hashem. So in the beginning of our Parsha, Eliezer goes out with a tefillah. He writes, and he says in Parakaf Dalid Pasuk Beis, Hakrena lefanai hayom. He davens to Hashem that a happening should happen today. Eliezer mevakesh me'akadosh baruch hu hakrena lefanai hayom. Hainu b'mikreh. Eliezer is asking that, and on the level of mikreh, of happenstance, something should happen. Tzarech biur. Why would Eliezer Dafka want this miracle of finding Yitzchak's soulmate to happen through a happenstance type of way? Generally, we associate the word Mikreh with just random, like by Amalek, and they happened upon the Jewish people, by Kalman, Baderech, or when God called to Bilam, it was in lashon of Vayikar, whereas with Moshe Rabbeinu, it's a lashon of Vayikra. So Mikreh is usually a language of random, of happenstance. That seems to be exactly the opposite of what Eliezer should want here. He wants to see a miracle. He wants Hashem's Hashgacha. So why does he dafka use this language of send me a Mikreh? Hine, it's a root ktiv. Now by Rus, in Perak Bey's Pasuk Gimel, it writes, Vayikar Mikreh Chelkat Hasadeh Boaz. There too, we have a happening, a seemingly happenstance happening that happens in the field of Boaz. And this too is strange. The whole entire fortune of mankind was at stake. Boaz and Ruth needed to be with one another. So you would think that's a dafka, that time not to have Mikreh, not to have happenstance, nature, rather to have Hashgacha, to have miracles, to make sure that they get together and the Mashiach will eventually be born through David and Melech. So here too, why the language of Mikreh? How about Nitmonim? Ma Hashgacha, Mao Mikreh. What is divine providence, Hashgacha, and what's the Bechina of Mikreh? Im the Dugma, Nafal ala me'itz. So a leaf falls off of a tree and comes to a particular place. It could come on the level of Hashgacha, and it could come on the level of Mikreh. Hashgacha perusha, Yetzach razah bashamayim, shala ploni yipol b'makom ploni. Hashgacha means God ordains, he screams out in the heavenly chambers, this leaf will come to this place. And the announcement goes from world to world, malach malach, from angel to angel. Shekin ben malachim, Yishon madrigos, agav madrigos, there's many different levels of angels. Till it finally gets to the angel on our world. And the angel, says, "Oh, leaf, you have to go to this particular spot." But when it's through concept of hashgacha, of divine providence, it means no proclamation went forth. Nobody knows, no angel and no force knows that this leaf has to land here. It's just natural. Nature says that this leaf has to fall here. And what is nature? That's God Himself. Right? As the Tanya writes, Teva is Elohim, the one who is the essence of all of the existence, who created all of existence and who is breathing life at every moment, all of existence. Nature itself is not run through an angel. Ella yeshirut al yedei kadosh baruch hu bechvodo v'atzmo. Rather, straight from Hashem Himself. Nature is run directly by God Himself. One could say, on a higher level, connection to Hashem is what's natural than what's done through the bechina of Hashgacha. Quite a chiddush, what Pinkus is saying here. And lama be'emet hayat tzarich dafka b'hashgacha zu shel Mikreh. And why do we specifically need this hanhaga of Mikreh that Eliezer is asking that it should come through Mikreh? V'lo haya nes ragil, not through a regular miracle. Yishuma pacham nemnei satan, because imata yotzet achrazer. Let's say proclamation comes out. Yine Ruth Miguel Este Boaz. Ruth is going to come to the field of Boaz. Since this is such a extremely important happening, Mashiach is going to come from this meeting. You know, the prosecuting angels are going to do everything they can to stop this from happening. When something happens on the level of Mikreh, through a hidden way, Hashem, of the acts of God, that's built into the universe. So no one's going to prosecute against it. Because God Himself is making this happen. Maybe that also explains why bracha falls on hidden things. When it's all hidden, it can happen in a natural way, and the blessing of the miracles can happen. Once it's revealed out in the world, and we're counting things are known, so then it's more complicated. More strings have to be pulled in order to make miracles happen. So that's the amazing chiddush. And now let's apply this to our story. So the reason Eliezer asked for Mikreh is because that's a higher level of divine consciousness than even Hashgacha. And that's why Ruth also was on the level of Mikreh. This too will now explain the third anomaly in our story. Why did Eliezer change his original mission? Avram didn't ask him to do it on the level of Mikreh. Rather, he said that Hashem will send his angel before you. Avram wanted an angel to bring the miracle of the Shidduch. He understood that he wanted to go even beyond what Avram asked. Avram only wanted an angel. Eliezer wanted to get an even higher level of direct Mikreh. Hashem Himself is directly intervening in the mitzvah. We could also say a wondrous thing. Eliezer, of course, is a faithful servant to get Avram's son married. We see Rashi explains it when Eliezer gives the nizamim to Rivka, he's being mekadesh her. He's making her engaged. And the only way that he could have got her engaged is if Yitzchak, sent him as a shvira, as a messenger. Even though Avram sent him through an angel, but Yitzchak, for Pinkus suggests, told Eliezer not to use angels. But rather that God Himself should directly choose the woman. And therefore Eliezer asked for Mikreh. Kadosh Baruch Hu v'chodo v'atzmo, שזה מידתו של יצחק אבינו להידבק בשם יתברך בכבודו ועצמו מחפש yirat shamayim. Because Yitzchak was on such a high level of yira, of awareness of God, He wanted to have Shem himself involved in the process. Interestingly, when Eliezer recounts the story, he doesn't mention how he asked for a Mikreh. El Amar, Vavoayum El Ain, Vomer Hashem Elokai Adonai Abraham, Im Yesh Chana Matzliach Drachai Asher Anichi Olech Aliyah. He doesn't mention any request for a Mikreh. He just asked for God to give him success. Because they won't understand what he's talking about. A tzaddik understands that even Mikreh, even nature, is the highest level. It's actually Hashem running the show. But a non-believer, an Amalekite, that Mikreh is happenstance. Maybe that's why it's described in that language. Lavan, by the way, is related to the Amalek family. Aber Eitzel Agoyim are they live a mashmucha Mikreh iafucha liashkachat Hashem Yisbarach Hashem siper lem rak Abraham amar Hashem Yisbarach yishlach malach leiter. So Eliezer doesn't want to confuse them, and he only uses the link talking about Abraham Avinu sending the angel. And now that we've explained our story, we can understand one more beautiful insight. In the common theme later on, we find Vayomer Yitzchak el Beno, by the story of the stealing of the brachos. Yitzchak tells his sons, how did you find the game so quickly? Yomer, so Yaakov responded, because God chanced upon him. And now it turns out so beautiful. Yaakov is pretending to be Esav. So an Esav would say such a thing like Mikreh, meaning to say it's just random. It's happenstance. But deep inside, what Yaakov meant is it was from Hashem, from the higher level of Mikreh. Because the tzaddik understands that the Mikreh of nature is actually Kadosh Baruch Hu b'chvodo b'atzmo. And so Yitzchak, in fact, understands Yaakov's deeper intention, and that's why he's confused by this answer. He says, you speak like Yaakov Avinu, but you feel like Esav. Because Yitzchak understood the level of Mikreh. I'll just add, isn't it amazing that from this story we learn, the Gemara in Moed Katan teaches that Hashem's divine providence extends, in particular, in the realm of people finding their shidduchim. So we learn about Hashem's deep providence and relations in getting involved in getting people married. And this is like the prototypical case in the Torah where we see Hashem's Hashgacha pratis, and it comes dafka from a story of Mikreh. So it turns out, according to Pinkus, everything's afuch alafuch. Everything's opposite of what we used to think. We used to think Mikreh was the lowest level, happenstance. And indeed, there are many who believe that what happens in nature is happenstance and random. But a tzaddik, a yid, as Ramban explains in Parsha Pearls, understands that nature too is being run by Hashem. Everything is from Hashem. And the more deeply you are connected to Hashem, the more deeply you understand that everything that's happening to us is His divine ratzon. We won't always understand it, but we believe and we know that everything is for the best. Everything is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chvodo b'atzmo. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful insight. I should learn it, the whole thing inside. There's lots more beautiful insights. Seferes Shimshon, and a lot to think about after this mimer in terms of Hashem's role in our lives. Have a beautiful Shabbos Kodesh. This Parshas Chayey.